Welcome back to Dave Knows Wrestling, and today we got a viewer request. Without further ado, let's get into it because today Dave knows the top 10 most underutilized talents in the WWE. Now, I'm going to apologize right away because odds are good that no matter who you are, there's probably somebody I'm going to leave off this list that you want me to have on it. Maybe it's by accident, maybe it's by design, but either way, sorry if your underdog doesn't make the cut. Now, this list is all about guys that have a lot of promise but have yet to actualize it fully at least. And there's no better person to start this list with than Dolph Ziggler. Now, there's pros and cons behind Dolph Ziggler, and some of you might think that he should be a little higher up than 10. In the con department, he did have his match for the title against Dean Ambrose at SummerSlam 2016. And the crowd was mostly dead. The match was nothing spectacular. Now, I'm not saying it was bad, but the match didn't scream, this is why we need to put Dolph Ziggler in the main event, and that was the problem. But in his defense, if you look at the SummerSlam promotional material, Dolph is nowhere to be seen on it, which is problematic. And he also spent the last couple of months before that jobbing to Baron Corbin of all people, so maybe that's WWE's fault for not knowing how to properly book him in a main event for the title. Oh yeah, I forgot, it was SummerSlam 2016, it wasn't a main event. It was a mid-card match somehow? And another problem I have with Dolph Ziggler is it's very hard to take him seriously as a threat. Stone Cold Steve Austin pointed out, he's never really dominated, he's never really gone on a tear, and unlike some other big superstars like Kane or The Big Show, he can't really just get away with his size intimidating people. He actually needs to commit to the role of being a legitimate ass kicker, which he never has been able to. He spends most of his matches catching a beating, only to come back with a dramatic win. And unfortunately, that doesn't happen very often, so most of the time it just results in him getting a beating straight through. Now, I understand the comeback win is very dramatic and exciting, but it doesn't work in all cases. But it does work well when he was a sole survivor at Survivor Series for Team Cena. That got him a tremendous ovation for just being the sole survivor. It would also work great if he had an extendedly long Royal Rumble time, but outside of that, on your average weekly program and your pay-per-views, you definitely need to kick it on Dolph. But Dolph, the reason why you make this list, and I think you are a pocket of untapped potential, is because when you catch the Money in the Bank, you got one of the loudest pops of all time. And I'm a big believer that when a guy is over, you give him a push. Just as simple as that. So Dolph Ziggler comes in at number 10. Number 9. Now this guy's on a great path right now, but the reason I'm putting him at number 9 is because I'm a little worried about him. I'm not sure where he's gonna go. So number 9 is actually Sami Zayn. Now, if you remember him from Ring of Honor to NXT to right now, you're gonna know there's been a lot of changes to his character over the years, going from El Generico to Sami Zayn. But I will say that I am a little bit worried that he hasn't won any championship gold yet, and that his size and physique may hold him back in the land of the giants. However, I do believe the best is yet to come for Mr. Sami Zayn, and I can't wait till it finally does. So, number 9, Sami Zayn. Number 8, Natty Neidhart. Now it seems almost for certain that Natty is the sole survivor of the new Hart Foundation. Ted DiBiase Jr. is gone, Teddy Hart never got signed at all, and we have no idea when or if Tyson Kidd will ever return. So that leaves Natty, except for the fact that they really don't know how to treat her. We have a high-profile female who graduated from the Hart Dungeon, which is an institution that's never coming back. On top of that, she is a fantastic wrestler. And if you like Charlotte, keep in mind that Natty put her over in the finals of an NXT tournament for the vacated women's title after Paige moved up to Raw. So you have Natty to thank for that. And it's kind of weird to think about it that a Hart was putting over a Flair. And while I understand that Total Divas is a huge revenue stream for WWE, it's a career killer when it comes to any woman that actually wants to, wrestle. So as far as I'm concerned, keep that for the Bellas and Eva Marie. Let the real wrestlers actually stay on the wrestling program. Natty is long overdue for some championship love, so why not give it up to her, and she totally deserves it. So number 8, Natty Neidhart. Number 7 on this list, it's tag team, and it is none other than the Ascension. Now, this tag team's misutilization is not the biggest crime in the world. After all, they're not the greatest in-ring performers. However, they are definitely being underutilized. They proved themselves in NXT to be a very effective tag team and to fill out a tag team roster, which is always in need of help as far as I'm concerned because WWE has a very hard time maintaining a solid roster of tag teams. It always seems to be the tag champs and whoever they're going against that minute. The Ascension most certainly can be utilized as one of those major players. So while they may not be great, they most certainly serve a function. And even though they were embarrassed by a group of old tag teams, there was still a way to actually bring them back to the forefront. When Kane and The Undertaker were taking on the Wyatts, this was a great opportunity to have a traditional 4-on-4 elimination tag match with the Wyatt family versus Kane, Undertaker, and the Ascension. If Undertaker and Kane put these guys over as the tag team they wanted to help them round out the roster, how much of a push would that have been? Even if they never win tag team gold, they would still be able to be a credible threat. So number 7 goes to the Ascension. Number 6 goes to another victim of the Total Divas, and it's Paige. Paige had great momentum when she debuted on Raw and took the title off of AJ Lee on her first night. Only problem is, from that point on, they had no idea what to do with her. They turned her from heel to face like the Big Show because they just couldn't come up with an angle. Then finally, they brought in a whole group of women who could actually wrestle, and Paige was kind of left by the wayside. Sure, she had that awfully awkward program with Charlotte that went nowhere, and then she got the suspension, and I'm sure dating Alberto Del Rio isn't doing her any favors in corporate. I mean, look, hey, it's your choice and all, I'm just saying. Weird pick. And then, of course, she was on Total Divas. Paige is one of the best wrestlers in the company, and it's even worse when you start your career off with a bang and then go through a low, because it makes the low seem all the much more lower. We need to do something quick to actually bring Paige back up to the level which she deserves, and that way we can have a much more exciting and entertaining roster of women. So number 6 is Paige. Number 5, the forgotten redheaded stepchild. I'm talking about Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch is an extraordinarily talented wrestler. The only problem is she has nothing to really show for it. She never won the NXT Women's title, and she also has never won the WWE Women's title. What's going on here? Now, despite the fact that I've seen Becky have one of the best matches I have ever seen in my entire life with Sasha Banks in NXT, Becky has nothing to show for it, while Sasha has moved on to bigger and better things. Which is really disappointing to me, especially when I think Becky Lynch is actually better than Sasha. And even if you don't agree with that, it seems undeniable that Becky Lynch is overdue for some kind of attention, instead of being treated as simply punching bag for all the other divas on the roster. But her career is still young, so hopefully there's plenty of time to balance this out. So that's why number 5 is Becky Lynch. Number 4, it's the internet's favorite champion, Zack Ryder. WrestleMania 32, he wins the Intercontinental title, has a WrestleMania moment with his dad. Finally, Zack Ryder is getting the attention he deserves, and then loses it to The Miz the next night on Raw. You've got to be kidding me. And then gets embarrassed by Rusev of all people for the United States title. Zack Ryder is definitely one of the most underused wrestlers they have in the WWE. And I have a friend whose dream feud is Robbie E versus Zack Ryder. So if you guys are listening, try to make that happen. Zack Ryder was doing great, and then unfortunately he got buried by John Cena, which is a thing that happens sometimes. Zack Ryder can most certainly be a solid contender for any mid-card title, and if you treat him right, there is a good shot you would get a great main eventer out of him too. And he's most certainly paid his dues. He's entertaining and charismatic like there's no tomorrow. So number 4 is Zack Ryder. Number 3, this guy is successful, but nowhere near as successful as he needs to be. I'm talking about none other than Bray Wyatt. How is Bray Wyatt not the most dominant heel wrestler in the entire company right now? Now, in an ideal world, Kevin Owens would be the top heel on Raw, while Bray Wyatt is the top heel on SmackDown. But make no bones about it, I want Bray Wyatt to be the scariest dude in the entire company. And he most certainly should be. When he debuted, it seemed like finally, after long last, we got a character that might be every bit as eerie, scary, and intimidating as The Undertaker for the next generation. And we haven't gotten that. We've gotten a guy who's done mostly a lot of losing, and he hasn't done anything really wild or crazy in a while. He's not even on most pay-per-views, and most of the time he doesn't even win in the first place. We need to see the Wyatts go on a tear, and we need their leader to be the most threatening one of them all. So I'm begging you, before you ruin it completely, before it goes beyond all repair, make sure that Bray Wyatt goes on a solid tear, and we are reminded exactly why all of us need to follow the buzzards. Number 3, Bray Wyatt. Number 2, from NXT, Tye Dillinger. Tye Dillinger is finally beginning to gain a little bit of a push, it seems, but not nearly enough. When Jason Jordan and Tye Dillinger were a tag team, I thought they were both phenomenal wrestlers, and I was really upset about how slowly Jason Jordan was getting pushed, but Tye Dillinger was pushed even slower. American Alpha is finally on the main roster, so it seems like Jason Jordan is getting the push that he deserves. But Tye Dillinger is still on NXT curtain jerking. And I got really worried because for a while it began to look like Tye Dillinger would be the new NXT jobber to the stars, replacing CJ Parker and Simon Crow, which I definitely didn't want to see happen. Guys like Salmon Crow, CJ Parker, and yes, Tye Dillinger are more than just enhancement talent for the newcomers in NXT. And Tye Dillinger is the best out of all of them in my opinion. The guy is a great wrestler, and he's finally showcasing that he has a lot of natural charisma and is a funny guy. And the Perfect 10 started as a great angle that they did only for live audiences at house shows for NXT. This guy deserves to be a lot further along, especially when his equally talented partner Jason Jordan is already on the main roster. The ship has not sailed, but you definitely need to dig this diamond out of the rough. So number 2, Tye Dillinger. Number 1, most underutilized wrestler in WWE is Antonio Cesaro. Antonio Cesaro has not held a singles title since 2012. What's wrong with that picture? And then they stuck him with another underutilized talent on the card with Tyson Kidd, and guess what? The two actually went over. Even a joke tag team actually managed to excel these guys to the next level. Now, it has been explained that there are reasons why his angle with Paul Heyman actually didn't go into fruition, but at the same hand, he still had Paul Heyman. This could have been great, and it wasn't. Antonio Cesaro is most certainly one of the best pure wrestlers they have, if not the best wrestler they have. And when you have whole sections dedicated to a guy, isn't that enough to tell you, put the strap on him? When I see somebody like Cesaro, I look at him as the guy who could very well be the second coming of Kurt Angle. I don't want to hear no arguments about brass rings. Even John Cena said it himself. Cesaro matches are the kind of matches that they should be having all the time. And he's also capable of elevating bad wrestlers into having better quality matches. What else does the guy have to do for you? So please, please, push my #1 pick for the most underutilized wrestler in the WWE, Antonio, yes, he has a first name, Antonio Cesaro. Yeah, I know Antonio Cesaro is not his real name. I'm just saying, just call him Cesaro is stupid. #1, Antonio Cesaro. So that's my list. What did you think? Who did you think I left out and why? Please let me know in the comments. And if you like this video, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. This has been Dave Knows. So those are who I think are the most underutilized wrestlers in the WWE in 2016. But I'm flexible, and who knows, that could all change. And the great thing is, it's about optimism. I do believe that a lot of these wrestlers are going to make it a lot higher than they are as of right now, if not all of them. And while I have your attention, feel free to check out some of my other videos. So check both of those out, and thank you again for watching. And please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Also, check me out on patreon.com. That's Dave Knows Wrestling on Patreon. I really, really thank you for the support. You guys are great, and I can't thank you enough. So once again, this has been Dave Knows. Thanks for watching.